This week on the Dirthead Shed, I'm in a different shed. I'm in a whole different garage altogether. I came out here to Tennessee to help Derek with the old 35 Ford pickup. We're gonna do some rad stuff to this. I hope you dig it. It's a really early morning and we have a huge build planned for this week. It's time to hit the road. We're getting on an airplane. It's been too long. I haven't been traveling hardly at all. I made it to the airport, had to get up at like 4 o'clock, which is never fun, but this should be a fun day and it should be a fun week altogether. I got my rental truck and that's about all I need. Got my rental truck and my bags, and I'm gonna go be like the traveling fabricator for a week or so. Now we're talking. Cruising some good Tennessee back roads now. I flew into Nashville, and man, the traffic today in Nashville was so nasty. So much better. All right, I should be about a half hour out from Derek's house, and then we'll start figuring out what the game plan is, or just go get some dinner. I don't know. I'm starving. It's the next morning. I made it out here to Derek's house, shop, barn, vice grip garage, and this is the project we're working on. I got called in. Derek's over there having a hard time. I got called in to help him do a 4-link and get the rear suspension situated on this old 35 Ford pickup. It's actually way more stock underneath than I was expecting. I've got a pile of parts from Barnes 4-wheel drive and from Summit Racing so that I can get the rear suspension knocked out on this thing. And he's gonna go ahead and start tackling a whole different engine, transmission, all kinds of stuff. All I gotta do is make sure that he doesn't try to pull the cab off of this thing. He's talking about pulling the cab, and truthfully, that's a kiss of death. That just means this thing's never gonna run again. What do you got?
This is a 302 out of a 1978 Lincoln Rosalia Sisters.
Ah.
Look how much stuff is hanging. This is the engine.
Yeah, I know. 302s have about the smallest footprint of any V8, and this one is almost the same size as the pallet.
Yeah.
All right.
It's gonna go in here allegedly.
Yeah. So this typical Derek fashion. I showed up, and he called and he's like, "Dude, I need you to help me do the rear suspension." And then I get here and he's like, "Hey, we also got to do motor mounts, transmission mount. I want to pull the cab. I want to do a bunch of rust repair. We got to box the frame. We're gonna tub it, back half it, everything in 3 days."
Glass. It needs glass. Yep.
We'll see where we end up. It should be fun. We'll get that junk out of there here in a minute. And he's gonna start stabbing that one in there and figuring out how much rebuild it needs. I'm gonna go over here and yank the bed off of this and start chopping up the rear suspension.
Now we gotta get this inverted mono tube flip wishbone center section Dahlheimer.
Yeah, we'll get rid of all that junk. This is cool. Derek's helping out with, he's jacking this thing up. We're gonna get it like 1.5 feet in the air on some 12 tons so that when I'm under there cutting and grinding, we actually have room to run the broom around so I'm not laying and grinding splatter.
And if it falls, you want it to fall farther.
Yeah. Oh, good call. Oh my gosh, did you paint this? This looks really nice.
Did I work on this? Yes, I have.
Oh, this is gonna be fun. You weren't joking. That wishbone looks like it's about ready to come off without even thinking about it.
Oh yeah, there's like 2 threads on there. Every time I fueled this going home, I went under there, gave her a little twist like a Leatherman.
It's getting real now, Derek. It's getting real.
Did you cut your wiring?
No, I haven't. I lost my leather person. There it is.
I am drinking stomach acid. Can you lift back here? And Uncle Dave and I lift in front.
I'm not really sure what. I'm trusting that you're just removing all wiring.
Yeah, I'm gonna have the wires so you can get snip happy. We're gonna try to bring it back and set it on the tailgate straight up.
I think I'll get it this way.
Right.
Yeah, and then maybe once we get it part way, if you can like lower down to the ground and then step out of the way, then we can start tilting.
All right, ready?
Okay. Perfect. Now, you and I need to like lift straight up to try and not crush the fenders. That's fairly good.
Sweet.
Break for lunch?
I think so. How low can it go? Oh yeah. Did we need to figure out?
I can tape measure that.
Look at the other axle?
Yeah,
Maybe we should do the
tape measure.
measure rate.
All right.
We got a Ford 9-inch out of that Versailles.
It's a Versailles. Silent S on the end. Versailles.
We're gonna measure, I think, from the
Derek's got a Lincoln Versailles rear end that he wants to throw in it because the goal is to put this thing all back to Ford. Right now it's got like a Chevy rear axle and a Chrysler engine. So I think what we're gonna do is just start getting Ford parts back in it. 302, C4, and a 9-inch. Tried and true. These Versailles rear ends are cool. It was like the go-to hot rod axle that would come with disc brakes. And they were narrow enough to put in like 50s Fords. Holy cow, and that one looks like it was drug out of the bottom of Lake Superior. Whew. She's a beaut.
The dump axle.
Did you actually get it at the dump?
No,
Oh.
I drove it home.
First things first, wheel mount surface to wheel mount surface.
58 1/4.
58 1/4. So that is 4 inches narrower than the other one.
That's not good.
Let's go brake caliper, the bolt for the parking brake.
43 1/4.
So it's an inch narrower than the frame is.
That's not good then, right?
If we're trying to get, I guess what we'll do is like figure out how low we're actually gonna get this thing.
Okay.
Because if it's gonna like, if we were gonna do a notch and like have the axle come up into the notch, then the brake calipers would be a problem. But if we're just trying to get down to where the axle touches the frame rail,
Yep.
we might be close enough.
Okay.
Because you know, close enough is close enough.
Close enough is good enough. Okay.
That thing's clean. Oh, you totally just stepped on a nail.
Oh. Okay.
Derek's up there getting rid of the engine, taking out the radiator and all that stuff right now. I've got this thing on jack stands back here to where it's on the chassis. And I think the next step is get this leaf spring out. We'll get that thing out of the way, and then I can jack the axle up and see where it hits the frame. Kind of figure out how low this thing's really gonna go without chopping into it too much. I think I'm gonna just go ahead and get the hot wrench and get rid of a bunch of stuff at once. All right, it's go time. It's gonna be good now. The axle's loose. I can go ahead and get these things off too. We'll get the spring out of there. All right, good job. A little hammer action and that thing will come right out of there. Action hammer. There it is. Come on. Got it. More fire. Taking the spring out was fun, so I'm going to keep playing with the torch and get rid of this cross member. There we go. And come over here and start on the side that actually has the metal below it. Pretty funny. There's a bunch of tension on this thing. Yeah, just all the old bends in the frame and stuff are just kind of like, oh, finally, you relieved me.
Yeah, it's not even sitting on the sand over there.
No, this truck is really crooked.
It's all that moonshine on it.
Yeah.
Lifted it up. Wow.
Yeah, and like grab that corner and see how much you can just, like the whole thing is just like a noodle.
Wow.
Let's see if that thing will come out now. Seems close. Oh gosh. Got it. All right, after a very expensive trip to town, we bought pretty much everything they had at the tractor store in little bags, and I'm gonna get busy back here. I'm gonna get this rear axle out of here, drive shaft out, that way he can drain transmission, because it looks like the engine is about ready to come out.
Getting very close. Don't worry about that.
Ain't got no dang radiator.
No.
All right. This thing's, I mean, if tearing stuff apart is part of the job, we're kicking butt today. When you're working with a true professional, like Derek at the VGG, he let the dang
54-minute time.
54-minute time lapse. He put this on. He put that on the cab to see what I was doing. And then we went to town. We bought $600 worth of stuff at the Tractor Supply. So
This was $500 worth of it.
that was 15. He's gonna try a turbo can for the first time.
This is going to be great.
Oh my gosh,
We've been doing it wrong this whole time.
dude!
Done.
You just painted your whole floor.
Oh, what? How did that happen? Oh, no. Help me. It's bad.
Bentley,
real bad.
you're not allowed to play with turbo cans.
I need brake clean or something. So that means that it's like...
Yeah, it says 10-inch minimum fan. You could paint a car with that.
I believe it. Now I believe it. I thought maybe, no.
It's the real deal.
It'll do the thing.
Oh my gosh. Turbo can. That's no joke. Oh my gosh.
That was like a 4-foot...
It was it was impressive.
Wow, this is not... I feel like... Can you tell? I don't think you can tell.
Oh, it's showing up on camera, I guarantee you.
Jessica's gonna be mad. Don't tell her I did it. It was from painting the tractor. That's what happened. It's holding on.
Action.
Hey,
Good work.
Yes. I'm about ready to yank this junk out. I just got to drop the transmission juice, get the motor mount bolts out. You've got the drive shaft off for me, thank you. And then I think I can tug this out of here. I may use the forklift because it's got to go.
Derek's under there draining the transmission, getting the drive shaft out and all that ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and just yank the whole rear axle out of place. I've got 2 holes in the frame. One here for this bump stop and one over there for that one. They're not in the same spot, but if I like average them out and I put the new center line somewhere between here and there, we should be good to go. The amount of, oh boy.
It's moving a lot. I'm not really sure.
The fact that you drove this thing and it had, it had 1 bolt with a nut on it holding the whole rear end in. Everything else was just like hopes and dreams. There we go. All right. We don't have those to worry about anymore. Let's get this axle out of the way. That can get out of the way. Oh, I forgot to get the brake line. The axle came out without anybody getting hurt, and that was cool. Have you ever figured out why GM guys think GM axles are cool? I can honestly say this is a first for me.
What, a Ford 35?
Yeah. First time launching it off of the jack stands while pulling an engine. I'm gonna set the phone or the camera down over here on this super clean, and we can get these things reorganized.
So it turns out the shift linkage has to come off.
It does.
Okay.
It's one of the main units of attachment.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna lift if you wanna
Sure.
slip. Do the old lift and slip, and
Okay.
all right.
That doesn't sound good.
No.
Things are twisting. Okay.
Well, we still have an engine up there and suspension.
Yeah.
Let's get the engine out of here. Ah, the shifter's still hooked up. It's really in first gear right now.
I should have known when the Merlin globe slipped back in the seat that it was still hooked up. Let me just cut that.
We had a bit of a mishap while pulling the engine out. And while we thought we were just testing the tensile strength of the ground wires, it was actually the shifter that was still hooked up to the transmission and just getting yanked by 700 horsepower of yellow Yale forklift fury.
I think everything's fine. I think we have everything now, right?
Yeah, it has to be. I mean,
It seems to be going better.
yeah. You're about to rip your core support mount off. Oh, you're good.
Okay, let me get a battery in my documentation device.
The Versailles was known for its beefiness.
The Versalius?
Yes.
Yeah. It's French.
Let me grab those ratchet straps and we'll just let the thing hang. Enchiladas, huh?
Enchiladas, chicken.
And just like that, a Ford and a Ford.
Pretty good, huh?
Yeah, we're getting it.
It's looking good.
All right, we're back in the shop. Day 2 of, what is this truck?
35 Ford with the chop top. It was 318 with 727 powered and a Chevrolet posi rear end. It is now powerless with the 9-inch.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I'm gonna get back here today and start figuring out 4-link and axle location. We got this Lincoln Versailles rear end, which is like hot rod gold, even though it looks like rusty junk. It is not. That rear end's gonna end up in there with the 4-link from Barnes and all that. I'm trying to set up a little fab station over there. And Derek is gonna be tearing down the little 302. What's the story on this thing?
So this is the 302 C4 and 9-inch combo that came out of that 78 Lincoln. This kind of ran-ish. The transmission was smoked. I had a guy rebuild that in his driveway. Should be fine. This I'm just going to strip down to the block, test fit it. Once it fits, I'm going to pull it back out and actually just do a low-dollar
Rebuild on
dangle
it?
ball, throw some bearings at it,
Nice.
and put a roller cam in it actually.
Cool.
And jam it back in.
All right, so the end goal here, I think, is for this truck to be on its wheels with the drivetrain in it and looking good for day one of Power Tour, right?
Yes, that's the goal, is people can look at it and go, things changed.
Yeah,
And
good.
then I'll go,
Yay.
finish.
All right, I'm gonna get cracking on this. We've got a ton of work to do today. I got all my parts from Barnes over here, all set up and kind of going through what I got. This is all basically a universal triangulated 4-link kit. And then I had them throw in this variety pack of shock tabs. So I should have enough stuff here to make everything happen. I got some tubing for some links and then a little bit more tubing for a cross member that I'll probably end up having to build. Today we should have like a big shipment of stuff from Summit, which will be airbags and whatnot. So we should be good to go. Derek's over there tearing down the 302 with little grip, and I think he's got a like a Bronco or Marquis style oil pan coming for that thing, so it'll fit in that Mustang 2 front cross member real nice. Pretty rad. We're kind of moving along. Today we got to get a bunch of stuff done because tomorrow's kind of our last day to be able to build this thing. This regulator is kind of gack-wagoned. Was it working for you?
Yeah.
I'm not getting any of the red juice out. But the regulator's like pegged on danger zone.
Well, what in the cinnamon bear? Luckily I had a backup. Switched over to this guy, which is a nicer one. Been sitting in a box forever.
Heck yeah.
For this reason.
Gotta have a backup plan.
Still using the little bottles. But it works. I guess that's what a new tip looks like.
Yeah. Look at that thing. This thing's like a laser beam shooter now. I'm just cutting the spring perches off. That way we got room for 4-link stuff. This isn't going very smooth at all. So this bracket is so full of mud, it's not cutting very easily. Try and knock some of that out of there and make a little bit better room to get the torch in there. Back from a long lunch, it was like, it's a trip into town leaving Derek's. We got some parts for the engine and now I'm back here. I gotta grind up what I had just cut off before I left, clean this up one more time, and then we're gonna find some scrap metal and get the axle welded to the frame in just the right location, and that'll allow me to actually get started on the 4-link. Grind time after lunch. Oh yeah, it's getting after it now. Really would have been a good day to wear long sleeves. That's starting to look like a real axle. Not bad. Derek's over here scarfing off some old motor mounts. There is no shortage. There's no shortage of extra stuff on this truck. It's been hacked on and cut on for years. You got to remember, this truck is almost 90 years old right now, so it's had a hard life. It's the same chassis that truck came with, and it's still out there. It's still going to be cruising, and it's still going to be turning heads. So I think this is pretty cool. Action! I think the axle's in the right spot. I have measured back and forth and side to side, and it seems like it's pretty square. I'm going off of like a similar spot on each side of the frame, so like right there, I'm at the front edge of that hole that's built into the X member, and I can go over there, do the same. That'll give me my front to back so that hopefully this thing's not like dog walking down the road. And then when I did this part here, I just went from inside of the frame, butted that up there, and then I came out here to this caliper bracket, and I'm measuring to that, and that's giving me my side to side. So we should be pretty good to go. I know this thing wasn't very square before, but it should be pretty square now. So that's all good to go. Now I can take my scrap metal. I'm gonna set these right here, and I'm gonna weld the axle to the frame. And that way I can get the jack stands out of the way so my link mounts can go in place and nothing's gonna move when I get those jack stands out.
When Uncle Derek drops the truck on the ground again.
Yeah, this should stay right where it's at. Heck yeah, I'm gonna weld a bunch of junk and then we should be able to start slinging some link bars.
Good then. Bacon.
Sizzling. It's gonna be good enough.
Good enough for hooks 4.
Zing! If there was a ballpark nearby, we would be sort of in it.
I'm gonna pick the truck up.
Yeah, this is normal.
Slide those up.
Yeah, if you wanna.
Ready?
Let me actually, oh yeah. Not, and I'm running, and I'm running.
Doing reps.
Okay.
Wood blocks all up.
Ah.
Ready?
And action. And release.
Depth check.
Could it get any better?
Nice.
I don't think it could get any better. Look at that, we got all kinds of room to work and
We just write Monroe on these?
yeah. It's time to start putting some of this stuff together. These brackets and stuff from Barnes, they come pre-bent and they all fit pretty well, but they don't come pre-welded. That's kind of why you get a decent deal on them. So I've got the joint in here and I've got just enough gap to where it's not like smashed tight. And I'm gonna weld the little boxing gusset on here. See if I can remember how to weld today. We got a problem.
It's getting kind of hot in here, Dave.
Yeah. This was This is the first time I've had one of these. This is the first time I've seen a bottle actually get going.
That one's from the 80s. It doesn't work again.
All right. I was grinding, and this acetylene bottle was off-gassing, and it is going to town over here. Derek was pretty quick to get the bottle turned around so that it wasn't burning into the cart, which was a good move. He's out there getting a fire extinguisher right now.
Dave didn't see it, he was grinding. And
That thing's just gonna still
safety valve
is wasted.
well, there's so much pressure now, it's hot.
Yeah. We should probably open the door.
Yeah.
Crescent wrench.
Yeah.
I've got that over here.
I've never seen one of these take off before.
Me neither.
But the contents under pressure, it technically isn't dangerous. It runs out of pressure.
Did you close the valve or is it too hot?
Yeah, I got that close from already. We were farting around with this earlier.
Yeah. Well, if you look, the bottle has leaked and has all this bottle's been a problem, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, you smell that? We should probably. Maybe we go have a cold snack outside, huh?
What's that?
Maybe we should have a cold snack outside.
Yeah, this is probably time. I mean, if there's call for a break ever, this was it.
I was over there working,
Yeah, no,
and I saw like this,
a little poof.
no, like candlelight, like flickering.
Yeah.
I was like, what is he doing? And I'm looking, and you're grinding, and there's just this fireball right next to you. And I'm like, Dave.
There's your problem.
Oh, that was something else.
That meme's been going around. The old, why do women live longer than men?
There you go.
There it is.
I'm just glad it didn't get the bottle. That would have been.
That would have just set the place off.
That would have been spicy.
All right, we're gonna just probably chill it out for a second. Maybe listen to some Christmas music.
I think that's a good idea.
There we go. All right. That one should be pretty much ready to go.
Nice.
All right. Those are welded in, the brackets for the lower link bars. This one's just tacked in. Derek's using the welder to do the motor mounts right now. And if you come over here, I've got my lower link bars kind of laid out. 22 1/4 eye to eye, and that will give me the right length bar. So if we go 14 5/8 on that 2-inch 250 well tube, we'll end up with a piece of pipe that'll fit right in there into those weld bungs. So I'm gonna chop saw it up real quick and we'll start making these lower link bars. Oh, this stuff is heavy. Probably not necessary for this little truck. There we go. Loud noises.
Chop saw, me too.
Always make sure you wait till 11 o'clock at night to use your chop saw. That'll do. Let me sand these up real quick and then we'll get them ready to weld in. Get them kind of popped in there. I'm going to check and make sure the two are the same. They are spot on. And now I can go and weld that one. It's got like a nice big V in order to get plenty of weld penetration. Sometimes I would do a rosette weld on these, but the last time I did, I ended up screwing up the threads super bad, and I know I don't want to be running around small town Tennessee tomorrow trying to find an 1¼ inch left-hand thread tap. So we're going to go ahead and just weld these up with the V that it's got and call it good. I don't think that little 302's even got a chance of damaging these big old gnarly link bars. Good to go.
Nice.
Those should be fine for your 2,800 pound car.
I'd say so.
All right, link bar things complete. I think we're gonna call that a night. Day 3 on the old Vise Grip Garage 35 Ford. Derek knocked it out yesterday. The engine is sitting in here on mounts, in place. There's like welds and stuff holding it in. All that's going to be throwing the power back here to this Lincoln Versailles disc brake rear end. This was like the hottest rear axle swap of all time. I mean, I got this thing kind of like mocked up. We've got lower link brackets on the frame, lower link brackets on the axle. The bars are put together. I've got to throw joints in those, and then we're going to start messing around with the triangulated uppers. So the lowers basically hold your axle front to back. The uppers are going to be the ones that hold the axle side to side and control the pinion angle. So, all right, these links are kind of welded up and getting ready to go. I've still got to do the uppers. I'm throwing these Enduro joints in. It's real similar to a Heim joint, except it has a urethane bushing inside. So you get all that angle that you would get out of a Heim joint, but you also get a little bit of cushion so it's not a harsh ride, and they don't wear out and clunk around like a Heim joint will. So throwing one of these kits on a street truck might be a little bit overkill as far as like the size and weight of it goes, but it's also kind of, I wouldn't say it's like idiot proof, but I guarantee you this is not going to be the thing that ends up being a problem like 5 years down the road. These things should be good to go for a long time. I'm going to go ahead and run all these in with some anti-seize on them because you don't want all these threads to gall up, and get them in place. I always run these all the way down till they bottom out and then kind of back them back out evenly. That way you've got the same amount of adjustability on each side. Check this out. Upper link bracket, that's that triangulated upper. I just kind of buzzed it together in the stock fashion, however they wanted it, and it actually fits in the frame really well. If I get this to live right here, it's going to be able to like weld in with the lower bracket. We can box in the frame a little bit here, and we'll end up with like a really strong mounting point for both uppers and lowers. So I'll tack it in, and then we can get to the other side over there and see if we can make them match. That's always the hardest part. The first side is easy. Making the other one match, that's the challenge. I like it. Awesome. Derek's fitting up the wheels and tires. We've got really tight tolerances on this thing as far as like if the wheel's gonna fit and tuck inside of the fenders. So we've got center line on the axle figured out here, and a wheel there. We'll go like there. I'm at 34, just under 34, so that's 68.
68.
So say 67 3/4.
How How's 67 3/4 sound?
It sounds like we're on the money.
It's literally like maybe a 16th over that.
We're gonna be.
But we're also.
Yeah, we're gonna. I mean, we're gonna be in the ballpark. We'll either be rubbing a little bit, like if we're close, and we can just do a 10 millimeter narrower tire or something, like at some point.
Yeah, I mean that's easy to do. Just
Yeah.
switch the tire around.
If we don't have to like trim the inside of those fenders, that's gonna be the best.
No, I think yeah, we got tons of room.
Yeah.
So I think that fender is going to be like right here.
Yeah.
So I think we're good on the inside.
I mean, your prep work on this thing is amazing.
Well, you got to plan, research.
And follow through.
Right, definitely.
Some
follow
solid work.
through. Or just order the night before and overnight it.
Yeah.
Hope it's right.
We're hoping it was right.
That's pretty great because that fender, man, is going to be
This thing's gonna have a look. It's gonna have the look. All right, I'm gonna keep welding all this stuff up. The next step on this thing is gonna be just making upper link bars. I know they're gonna end up being the same length, so I will go ahead and just kind of find where I want them to live, and I will make a couple of bars that are 22.5 inches long. That's what it's telling me, 22.5. Basically, I'm gonna make the bars, and then I'm gonna start with these universal tabs. These ones here that came with this kit, and we're gonna end up making these, just kind of reshaping them until they fit the bars. So it should be pretty straightforward. The only odd thing going on here is the fact that this section of the axle housing that we're gonna be mounting to is not centered. So where these tabs over here might be pretty simple, these ones over here are gonna be kind of climbing up on the raised center of this center chunk. So it's gonna be a little challenging there, but we should be able to make it happen. So I'm gonna go make 2 bars that are 22.5 with adjustability built into them, and then we will be able to kind of drop those in place and start fitting tabs to that. These upper bars are basically like the lowers, except they are 1 3/4 120 wall. This is DOM tubing drawn over mandrel. It's kind of like the step between hot rolled electric welded, which is sort of the inexpensive steel tubing, and chromoly. Super good and strong for almost all your automotive projects. It's even a little bit of an overkill in my mind, but it's always good to know that you got like quality stuff on your rig. Good to go. Let's go weld this stuff up. This one being 120 wall tubing, the V that you're going to weld up is nowhere near as big as the one with those lower link bars, but it will still weld up and be ultra strong. You just want to make sure you do V it is really important that you do V the tubing out a little bit so that it kind of matches the angle on the weld bung there. And make sure you put your old man glasses on so you can see what you're doing. Not those glasses, those ones.
Old man glasses.
Oh my gosh, high definition. I'll tack that weld bung in and then go around to the other side, and that's where I'll actually start my weld. Whoa boy, easy. Whew. That thing's in there. You can see the heat band is pretty good on the inside. I don't know if it's going to focus on that, but we've got plenty of penetration on there. but without ruining the threads. Like I said before, a lot of times I would do a rosette weld where you drill the tubing and then you weld into the bung from the side there. But the last time I did it, I really boogered the threads up, and I don't have an 1 1/4 tap. At some point during the last clip, I lost battery, so what we've got going on here is Derek laying under there getting a transmission mount sorted out. Looking good, and then now we've got a 4-link back here that actually looks like a 4-link. All the bars are in place, and this is basically going to tell me the layout of where everything's going to fit from here on out. I've got my triangulation sort of figured out. We're going to end up having to make those 4 tabs for the axle side, and then we can start figuring out if the airbag is going to fit in this location okay, or if we're going to have to like hang it off the back of the axle. And we can also start figuring out where those shocks are going to go. We're going to run into town and hit up the O'Reilly and pick up some shocks for it. And I think we're going to some sort of Mexican restaurant because guacamole and chips sounds amazing. Guacamole.
Guacamole.
I spent a bunch of time sanding these tabs down and getting them to fit the weird shapes of this axle. And I think we're dialed on this side, so I'm going to go ahead and weld it in. I've got the other side close, but not quite there yet, so I want to get this one welded in and then use it as a reference point for where this one actually needs to go. There we go. Even though this axle looks like it came from the bottom of the ocean yesterday, it is welding clean. It's all about prepping it. Love it. Check this out. Looking good. We got some magnetic cleanup going up on aisle 6. I just came over here and like did a little quick handmade gusset on that guy. And we're gonna go over here and tack this one in place, get this going. We've got them both the same length and the same angle, the same distance from the brake backing plate in on each side. This thing's getting close. Let me bust out the little weld on these guys, make a gusset to match that one, and then we'll cut those strut thingies out and we'll cycle this and see what it tells us is next. Let me know if I light anything important on fire. Sweet.
How much?
I don't know. I'm gonna go burn my hands taking it to the vise and grind it. Check it out. The link is all together. We took a break for tater tot casserole. Super good. Thanks, Jess. I think we're good to go to cut these out, cycle this, and see if everything is gonna work like I'm hoping. Woo! Pretty cool. We got like 3/5 of the Bieri crew out here working in the garage tonight. There's some dirt bike work happening, some welding practice going on, and then Derek's up there buzzing in motor mounts. Pretty good times on a Friday night. Look at that. Let's get these things out of the way, and then we can jack this axle up and see how low this thing's gonna go.
Where do you want? All the way up?
Yeah, might as well. It looks cool that way. This is rad.
It's working. It's doing it.
Look at that pinion angle. It's just happy. You're gonna be the coolest kid You're going to be the coolest freshman driving illegally to school. It's going to be awesome.
I love how beautiful everything you've done is, and then right ahead of it is just a mangled, twisted frame with torch marks through it.
It's awesome.
It just reminds us of where we've come from.
Yeah.
Okay, once again, Dave.
Oh, jeez. Good success. All right, I want to show you guys this closer. Oh, look at that. Stayed out here late last night and threw that tube in there. Derek punched himself in the face with a tire iron somehow.
Good. Yeah.
It was a rough night in the old Vise grip garage.
We got plates.
We do have some parts, yeah. Derek fired up the plasma table and started making some sort of generic bag mounts to start with. Boom. So today is day 57 on this 4-day build, and I've got to be on an airplane in 5 hours. So we got 3 hours to get some stuff done.
We got it.
We've got this. All right, we will see shocks in here and airbags on it, and I want to see this thing on the ground, take a fancy picture for the YouTube, and then I'm gonna boogie on home, go work on other junk that you guys haven't seen yet.
Oh boy.
So here's what's going on as far as the shock mount goes. I needed to get a spot to throw some tabs on, and getting this tube going from one side all the way to the other, and then tied in there with the back of the link brackets, it really just gives you a quick, easy spot in order to do tabs off of. It drops it down enough to where they shouldn't be sitting above the frame a mile, and it actually, in this case, might help stiffen the axle and act like a back brace on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and figure out the top version of these shock mounts, and I wanna get those in place, and then we'll go ahead and mess with these bag mounts. Then we should have all the components we need and be able to see how this thing actually sits. Derek's helping with bag mounts and plate work right now, which is cool. I'm gonna get down here and finish welding up this shock mount. I was trying to explain it on the other side very in depth, but I forgot to turn the camera on. Basically, when you're doing all this suspension work and you're kind of hanging these parts down here, the first thing you want to make sure is that you are not putting any of these brackets lower than the bottom of the wheel, the rim. Because if you get a flat tire and this stuff's hanging down, you're going to be dragging it down the road. So make sure you kind of know what size tire or wheel you're going to run, and your bracketry is a little bit higher than that. So kind of simple, but easily forgotten. I know at some point in time I built some big old down swoopy doop and ended up with it sitting way lower than it should have. Let me weld this puppy on, and then we can start on the upper bracket. It's time to come in here and kind of duplicate that lower bracket by doing one on the top. So I'm gonna make it really similar with miter cuts, because we don't really have room to like eat up the radius of a bend there. So we'll get an overall width that I can't go past, which is like 43 inches. All right, so we need this thing to be 40. Ow, got it. Oh, God. Somehow it hit my back, but it hurt my neck. Oh, man. Oh. 43. Heck. All right, if we want this thing to be 43 inches wide, and that's kind of my widest point, half of 43 is what? 21 and a half. You're correct. So we'll come in here 21 and a half. That'll be our center point. And then we'll figure out how far the outside of that cut was from 43. That was about 20. We'll come over here about 20. I'll throw a mark here, and then it's going to get cut in this angle. And boom, we should have something that's sort of in the ballpark. That tube's welded up and sort of shortened into its position. Now I'm just doing a little bit of cleanup work on it so that it fits on the frame rails really nice. Check this out. We're just trying to get these edges to where this thing fits nice and flat on here. And then kind of come back here and give it the old eyeball. Make sure it's good side to side, up and down. It's an expensive price to pay to be cool, Derek. That frame is like, stop welding on me. I just want to relax. That worked out. The tube is welded to the frame, and I went ahead and marked the spot where the shock mount's going to live. I think we'll be kind of in this zone. I don't need this to be too awful smashed out. I think what I'll do is just go ahead and roll it down just a tiny bit. The frame hits the brake caliper parking brake mount really hard. So I want to like make sure the shocks actually kind of bottom out before that becomes a super bad issue. All right, shock mounts are both in place. This is pretty rad. That was a quick cross member. The pre-made shock tabs definitely help out with speed, and the little miter cut notch trick actually did the job right now, so we're moving along. One of the other reasons for doing the shocks in this orientation was so if Derek chooses to like change the pinion angle or move the axle forward or backwards a little bit, the bushings and bolts in this orientation will allow all of that stuff to happen without binding. If I would have put the studs coming out this way and you change the pinion angle, then the shock stud would be like angling in the bushing and wear them out quicker. It's simple, and it actually will serve a purpose, hopefully in the future, for making this thing more adjustable or serviceable. They're also just a super inexpensive, like 12.5-inch collapsed shock. So should be easy to find a new one if need be later on. I think it's time to figure out upper bag mounts. Derek's already got the lowers kind of mocked up and gussets made, and now that this tube is in place, we can kind of figure out where the bag mount's going to ride up here. So kind of reeling it in. We did go fishing today.
Yep, got a whopper.
Take that guy. Is the welder set up kind of low right now, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
I think we turned it down for the motor mount.
Okay, so that guy is going to live kind of there. These are the gussets that Derek whooped up. They're going to go like right here. I'm gonna actually put these kind of right to the outside of it. That way I can get a nice weld from up top. Ah! How are we doing on gas?
You want it on?
I think it's just the edge of this plate with all the like.
We're almost up.
Really?
Yeah.
So we got lower bag mounts kind of sorted out, and then we ran out of welding gas. No more MIG mix. We tried some argon straight in the welder, and it's not doing too great. We'll take some measurements real quick and come up with a plate that will work for an upper bag mount for both sides. I knew I should have stayed for a month.
Right, huh? Yeah.
Ugh, your wife would kill me. Oh gosh. A little behind the scenes of that CNC plasma cutter. Meow.
We're losing the shop.
Might have lost the shop. That's a lot of to do in 4 days.
Yeah.
3.5 days,
3.5,
whatever.
really. And if you take out margarita time, it was 3 days.
3.
Yeah. Shock sleeves, box of frame, gusset from that box,
Yeah.
2 of them. Nuts on the 4-link, vent on the axle.
Oh yeah, that's a big one. You're gonna want to do those brake hoses.
Got those ordered.
Maybe see if you can track down a non-parking brake caliper for this.
Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting how it hits the levers.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool, actually. It's pretty trick.
All right, we're gonna set this thing down, see what it looks like. See if the fruits of our labor were as tasty as the margaritas.
Where do we start?
Let's get these, we'll drop the back down, I think. These are already loose.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they haven't been doing anything in 3 days.
Oh.
Let me get a little different angle on this because it's gonna look sick.
This does look pretty sick.
Like,
Is these gonna slide? Oh.
oh, it's coming out. All right. We might have to do a second round on this where we come out and put airbags in the front.
Hey, you said it, not me. Anytime, buddy.
Let's see what happened.
That one's stuck.
Down stuck now. We're getting close. We got the floor jack stuck under the front. We got tires leaking. Airbags half done. Engine though, that thing's just about running.
It just needs lightning hoses. That's it. There we go.
Get that out of there. What a cool truck. This thing, that engine is perfect in there. You could fit 2 superchargers on top of each other.
We compound it?
Yeah.
That looks great, dude.
Oh, it's cool. It's crazy how much work it was to get it to there, but I think we're doing it. It's about 6.5 inches lower than it was in the back, which means your ride height should be about 4.5 inches lower than it used to be,
Oh, wow.
which is gonna be pretty good.
Yeah.
I feel a little bad that we didn't get farther along,
No, there's a lot of work here though.
but yeah,
Look.
very ambitious. I think we're getting there. This project right here would have been somebody's entire summer project. That's so cool.
Thanks for helping, Dave.
Heck yeah.
This is amazing.
Here's the other trick. Right now, this is where everything's bottomed out, right? If you wanted to just take a 3-inch block of steel and have that be parallel, that could be your bag mount, right?
Yeah.
So I think in actuality that bag mount could be a little bit lower than where we were having it up here.
Okay.
Yeah, so your bag can sit down pretty low there. That'll allow you to get a little bit more lift out of it too, which will be good.
Okay. I like that.
I think we're in the ballpark. You're not scared of tackling the rest of that, are you?
No. No. Now that you like just knowing how it goes together, I guess.
Yeah.
Is the really difficult part. Putting in terrible welds, I can do all day long.
You don't have to anymore. You got little grip
Yeah,
as
that's
your
right.
your welding man.
I gotta get him out here.
All right, I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks, Derek, for having me.
Absolutely.
That's gonna be it for this dirt head shed. Gosh, I just want to stick around and see this thing through.
You'll get to drive it next time when you come back to front.
Catch me when